For the entire offseason, ever since the Super Bowl ended, I feel like we've been hearing the same narrative over and over again. What are the Chiefs going to do? And I can honestly say that I was one of many that thought it was a little bit of a shock. It was a little bit of a shock that the Buccaneers handled the Chiefs the way they did. But was it really? I mean, they were down their two best tackles, and, I mean, come on. Patrick Mahomes, even every throw he tried to make, every diving throw, were some of the most impressive throws I've made, by the way, that he's ever made, that I've ever seen, by the way. He couldn't really do anything, and it really wasn't all on him. And I honestly think I still don't blame a whole lot of that loss on him. However, it was a big question coming to the offseason. What are we going to expect from the Chiefs moving forward? Do we expect them to rebound? I mean, we've figured everybody's like, oh, they need help on their offensive line. Are they even going to make the playoffs next year? Ton of questions. Before we get into why I think they are out to prove something in 2021, make sure you like and subscribe down below. Leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. We greatly appreciate all the support we've gotten. But we are out today to prove to everyone, or show rather, why the Chiefs are out to prove something in 2021. So for me, as we're going through the offseason process, as we're looking at some of the things they've done, I mean, you look at specifically some of the signings they've had, you look at some of the signings that they've had, some of the different things that they've brought to the table. Specifically, you talk about the signing of Joe Thuney, a 5-year, $80 million deal. Was kind of hoping the Vikings would make a play for that, but okay, it is whatever. I mean, you also talk about some of the other smaller signings, like Kyle Long, that come in to play guard, $1.5 million. Mike Remmers, they signed him to a 1-year deal, $3 million. But I mean, other than Joe Thuney, you're thinking, okay, who's going to really play tackle? Like, who's going to really take care of that aspect of it? And I was definitely a guy that was asking that question. So as we kind of got moving and kind of we're about to hit the draft, I'm thinking, okay, I'm mocking a lot of tackles to the Chiefs because that's their biggest need. Well, today they shook things up. I'm talking trading for Orlando Brown Jr. from the Ravens for actually it was kind of a ton of picks. So here's what the trade entails. They acquire Orlando Brown Jr., a second-round pick and a sixth-round pick. Orlando Brown Jr. and a second-round pick in this from this year's draft. And then the next year's draft, they acquired a sixth-round pick from the Ravens. Now, the Ravens get a first, a third, and a fourth in this year's draft, and then a fifth rounder in 2022. If you ask me, I was a little upset. I'm not going to lie. I was thinking the Vikings should, give up a little something to get the man, but I realize why it would have been a little bit foolish to go after this much. But you know what this trade really showed me? And I'm going to reiterate it for a third time. The Chiefs are out to prove something in 2021. What is that something? They are out to prove that they are still the bad man in the AFC, and they are not afraid to show it. And I think that especially you talk about Chiefs or teams like the Bills, teams that really challenge them. Even teams like the Dolphins, I don't know. But there are teams that were going to challenge the Chiefs moving forward. And like I said, everybody was saying, are they even going to make the playoffs next year? Is this going to be a problem? Their lack of outside offensive protection on the offensive line, is that going to be a problem? Not with this Orlando Brown Jr. Trade, because this man, I mean, everybody was talking about it. Now, first of all, I have to talk about, I give major props here. I give major props to the Baltimore Ravens. I think he's been a solid player for them, but they get a lot for him and a quality player. Now, former third-round pick out of Oklahoma, giving you guys a little bit of background, played over 1,000 snaps last year, had 5 penalties and allowed 3 sacks, had a 76.5 PFF grade the year before that. He's made 2 Pro Bowls in his first 3 seasons. I mean, that's all I need to say, really. But, I mean, over 1,100 snaps the year before that, 3 penalties and 3 sacks, a 72.0 PFF grade. Then he comes back in 2018, plays 160 snaps, 3 penalties and no sacks allowed. I am going to say it for everyone in the back. This move really, I think the Chiefs are the favorite to win the Super Bowl again next year, because we were asking ourselves, well, I mean, they get rid of their 2, Eric Fisher and Schwartz. How are they going to be able to get back there? This is how. Orlando Brown Jr. Now, they're going to have to pay him after this next season. I don't know. Remains to be seen. But I will reiterate it again. They're out to prove that they're the biggest, baddest team with the best quarterback in the league, with some of the best wide receivers. The best tight end in the game. Well, George Kittle up for debate, but they've got some of the best weapons. They got the best quarterback. Now they've got one of the better young offensive tackles in the NFL. I'm telling you, they're out to prove that they are still out there. They're out to prove that these rumors of them not making the playoffs and them not taking that next step and showing that this last year was a fluke. I mean, I'm out to tell you, man, they are out to prove something. Now they also can go out and get some quality offensive tackles in this next year's draft. But this trade really does a lot for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I for one, am very excited. As a Vikings fan, I'm a little ticked, but at the same time, I understand what the Chiefs were able to give away for them. I understand why the Vikings didn't. I understand it completely. So, at the end of the day, I'm very excited, but I do think the Chiefs are going to prove that they are the best team in the AFC, arguably, in the NFL next season. But let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like and subscribe down below. Once again, leave a like and a comment. It helps people find the show. Check out our website at thesportsbriefpodcast.com. Follow us on all social media. It's usually the Sports BP, I think, but we're always on the Sports Brief Podcast. Just search us all out there. We appreciate all the love, appreciate all the support, and let me know what you guys think about the Chiefs trading for Orlando Brown Jr.